Good. Well, I'm in the kitchen now with a guy who knows not only food, he knows cheese. This is Kyle Sherrick. He is the host of a great show on public television called Wisconsin Foodie, and we go way back, kind of.
What's happening, Hampton? Thanks for having me in your kitchen.
Absolutely. Love to have you. Kyle, tell everybody about your show and what you do.
Wisconsin Foodie is essentially the story of where your food comes from. It's basically the growers, the renderers, the plowers, the tillers, the cheesemakers, the great resources and the culinary gems that haven't necessarily been turned over in our state and highlighted as much. And it's the story of the people, essentially. And how does it get from farm to our mouths?
So you go all over Wisconsin and you're in search of these little great places, you know, these places, these secrets that maybe not everybody knows about.
Some secrets, and then we've got some things like in the cheese capacity. On an international and a national scheme, we are lauded beyond what we're aware of. And so for us to focus on that, it's a pretty easy story to tell. But right here, for instance, there's a great story about one of the cheesemakers we're going to talk about, Car Valley, where some friends of mine were in London. They walked into this gourmet shop, and the shopkeeper chatted him up, and where are you from? And he said, oh my gosh, we've got this amazing cheese we just got in from the States, from Wisconsin, da-da-da. And this same cheese we could buy literally at a truck stop on the way to Minneapolis.
Sure,
we
right.
don't know the gems we have in our backyard.
I think that's so true. In fact, I picked up some of that Car Valley cheese. We must have been at the same truck store outside of the Dells.
I brought you a gift, by the way. My parents, being good Wisconsin parents, taught me that to come as a guest empty-handed is to be a bad guest. So this is Upland cheese.
Ooh, oh, I will treasure it. So let's talk about some of these artisan cheese plants that we need to go to or buy their cheese, support these, because the whole world's talking about them, and you might not know about them.
Well, the Uplands guys, first of all, the Uplands guys and the Car Valley guys and Bluemont guys, who I'm going to talk about, are rock stars on the international scene. Mike Gingrich and Carol and the Patnews are basically, first they were neighbors, and then they had a partner farm, and they have won an unprecedented American Cheese Society Best in Show award 3 times in the last 10 years.
Wow. What kind of cheese do they do?
They do this amazing Pleasant Ridge Reserve. It is basically an aged cheddar.
Okay.
It's so extraordinary, and they do something very distinctive in that they only pasture their cows in the summertime. And their cows don't just eat grass, by the way, but they do eat this terrific grass. They eat legumes and they eat herbs that are on the property, and they only milk when summertime happens, and they make the cheese from that milk.
Interesting.
So the French like to talk about the terroir, and the Gingrich guys, you know, the Uplands folks, really, really believe in that. And it does. It affects the flavor. There's no question that you can't have it affect the flavor, basically. The thing that the cow eats, what it's planted in, so on and so forth. It's, you know, it's much like vineyards, the side of the hill, that kind of thing.
Sure. So that's the name of the first one that we're talking about.
Yep, Pleasant Ridge Reserve Uplands cheese.
Okay.
And the other cheesemaker that I want to talk about that is, he's sort of an outlaw within. It's Willie Lehner from Bluemont Dairy.
Okay.
And I think it was an outlaw for 2 reasons. One, his name is Willie, and he kind of resembles Willie Nelson in much the way that Nelson left Nashville and went down to Austin and started this whole new, you know, kind of renegade country music style. Willie Lehner.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
There he is. Yeah. He was trained by, his dad is Swiss. He's Swiss as well. He was trained by his dad as a master cheesemaker as well. And Willie does something different in that he doesn't have his own cows, but he gets milk from other great dairies, Uplands being one of them, much like the Burgundy winemakers do. They don't have their own vineyards that can supply enough.
So he just focuses on the cheese making, basically.
Correct.
What kind of cheese?
He does these bandage-wrapped cheddars and other things, and he is
bandage-wrapped?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a soft cheese, and he did something, you know, we were talking about terroir a minute ago. He did something really renegade a couple of years ago. He literally took a bandage-wrapped cheddar and buried it into the ground and let it ferment within the soil for a true terroir experience.
And?
It's the most... When I had it, I felt like, what was her name from the Willy Wonka thing when she eats the gum?
Oh, yeah.
It's funkadunk, it's awful, it's flavorful, it's amazing, it's 35 flavors happening in your tongue and in your nose, and then it's fabulously delicious and rich and soft and amazing.
Cool.
And he's just he's this outlier with all these creative instincts, and he's winning awards. And if you go to like Murray's Cheese, which you guys were talking about before, and you walk in and you say, Willie Lehner, they say, have you met him? I mean,
that's funny.
Yeah, these guys get goosebumps talking about him.
I could talk all day, Kyle, but we're running out of time. One more cheese.
Car Valley, Sid Cook. He's basically, put it this way, in Sid's career at one point, he had won more awards personally than the nation of France. in cheese making.
Wow, and this
Yeah.
is outside of the Madison area, kind of?
Yeah, well, where I made cheese with him was up in Laval, and he's got
Okay.
a couple of different places. Sid is a master cheesemaker, and in that there's only a handful within the entire country. Fourth generation, family owned. He's just, he does it right.
And they do several different cheeses. I tried one that had a line of ash in it that was amazing. They have one with cocoa. Is it cocoa beans or something?
The cocoa cardan.
Yeah.
And the last big note about Sid is that he competes with cheeses that he pulls out of his cooler in his own stores. So there's nothing special. There's no rarefied air. There's no separate product. He just grabs what's in the store and goes off to these competitions and kicks butt.
Love it. Good to see you. Come
Nice
back
to see
again.
you. I love being
It's
here.
great to get all this knowledge, and I can't
Yeah.
wait to go out and try all those cheeses, which support those local artisan cheeses because good stuff.
It is good stuff, and
Thanks
it's a
for the
big
cheese.
industry.
I can hardly wait to try mine.
Well, I'm sharing it with you.
Okay, all right. We'll have a glass of wine and we'll share it.
You got